Hey, what's up? Sonics here. Welcome to the first installment of the 5 Minutes to a Better Song tutorial series. Now, what better place to start is something that is more of a foundation to your mix, and that is sub bass. But more particularly, I'm going to show you how to tweak your sub bass so that it's more audible on a wider range of speakers. More particularly cheaper speakers like iHomes and laptop speakers. Now, forewarning, if you are actually listening to this on cheaper speakers, you're going to have trouble hearing what I'm actually doing here. So I'd either recommend plugging in a better system, or if not, if you don't have access to that, I have Ableton Spectrum up here, so you can actually see what's going on even if you can't actually hear it. But without further ado, let's get into this. First, you're going to want any kind of synthesizer that can produce a sine wave. So I have Ableton's operator here, and with operator, you just click the wave sign here, click sine, and now you have your sub bass sine wave. Now, if you're like me and you like to use massive, you can do that too. Just open up massive, start a new patch. You can select sine square or sine triangle, doesn't matter. And just turn the wavetable position to sine, and you have a sine. You have a bass here as well. But either or, it doesn't really matter. For simplicity purposes, we're just going to use operator today. Now, let's talk about cheaper speaker systems real quick. Now, I want you to watch something. When I play this note, I want you to watch something here in the spectrum. So you see this little hump right here, or mountain, or whatever you want to call it? That's what is called a harmonic. Now, if you notice that there's only just one harmonic here, and there's nothing really up in the higher frequency range. Now, this becomes problematic when it comes to cheaper systems like iHomes or things like that. Is they can't produce frequencies below a certain range, probably about 100 hertz or maybe even lower. Every system's different. But what you want to do is you want to tune your sub bass so that it can actually produce a tone and not just your bass completely disappear when your bass actually does come into your song. So how we're going to do that is we're actually going to excite or add harmonics in here with distortion plugins. One plugin I like to use is called Isotopes Alloy, and how I go about doing that is I tend to like adding warm distortion and turning up the drive to taste. Now I want you to watch the spectrum as I turn up the drive here and notice what happens. So now see, there's more mounds here, more harmonics. So now when you play your bass comes in on one of these cheaper iHome systems, your bass isn't just going to completely disappear, and your song is going to sound more full, more fat. It's just gonna help everything in the long run. Now, say you don't have this fancy schmancy plugins like Isotopes Alloy. That's okay, because you can get the same effect by using saturators or distortion plugins. So I have Ableton's Saturator right here, and let's take a look at what happens. We have it on analog clip. This is all default, by the way, when you pull it in. And let's see what happens when we turn up the drive here and take a look at the spectrum. Really fattens out that sub. Maybe a little too much for my taste, but you can tweak this to however you want your sub bass to sound, but it's essentially accomplishing the same goal. Now, with any kind of distortion plugin you're going to add, you're going to want to make sure that you remove these higher frequencies right here, because when it comes to sub basses produce some pretty nasty sounding high frequencies. So just make sure you filter them out. I tend to filter them out around 200 hertz, but you can filter them to however you feel is necessary. So there you have it. A nice, clean, fat-sounding sub for you. Well, I hope that was helpful. Stay tuned next week for another installment in the 5 Minutes to a Better Song tutorial series. Until then, I'll catch you later. Peace.